Welcome to the Dear Doc podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpower.
Before we get into the show and introduce today's guest, I would just like to thank United Medical Credit for being sponsors of this podcast and of the business of dentistry. As a matter of fact, they have a special offer for business of dentistry members, 0% merchant fees for the rest of the year, and 30% discount for life after that. You can get that special deal by either going to docoffinvestments.com and clicking on the deals section, or by going directly to www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD. Thanks again, UMC. Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpower coming to you from my home studio here in Alvin, Texas. Today we're going to talk to a good friend of mine. He's going to talk to you about a product that he really believes in. He is a part owner of the company. I own a bitty smidgen, and that is Simple. Now, Simple is an aligner company, and their philosophy is to keep things simple. They have great materials. It's a great workflow. But before I get into all that, let me introduce you to John. John Nakhla, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well. Merry belated Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you as well. New Year's is not quite here yet, but we're breaking in the New Year's with temperatures that's over 20 degrees, which is great for me because I've been freezing. I don't know about you.
Over 20 degrees is great.
Over 20 degrees is great. It's been like 19
here.
It's
freezing out here. I think it's 52 or 48. It's rough. It's rough out in California.
It's so tragic, they're next to those warm ocean breezes, and but I don't mean to rub. Pretty cold.
Say it again.
I did hear it was pretty cold out though, even with that nice Gulf Stream.
All kidding aside, yes, we had about a 2-week window where it was unusually or unseasonably cold for us. But even that, I mean, we're talking about 32, 28, which again, anything below freezing is rare out here, where the infrastructure is not even really built for it in the Bay. But yeah, short-lived, thankfully, and just in time for the holidays that things kind of warmed back up to a more manageable temperature. Yeah, at least for what we're accustomed to.
It's funny.
Short sleeves.
Yeah, exactly. Short sleeves. I mean, short sleeves every day. So it's funny though, because usually I've got this head full of hair, and we were kind of laughing that I was like your twin here now that I shaved my head. This right here, much less comfortable than a head full of hair whenever it's 19 degrees. So I feel for you, my friend.
I can't even begin to tell you how many hoodies and beanies I own at this point. It's essentially all I wear during the winter season. The difference between you and me is yours is a choice. This is what I'm working with, bud.
But yours is this beautiful smooth thing. I can never get that kind of, and I can't get it tanned either.
The sheen. It's the sheen. It's the polish I get on there every morning.
Got to get the turtle wax out in there. All right, guys. So enough silliness and fooling around. It's been a while since I've gotten to talk to John, and so we're just messing around here. John, talk to me a little bit about yourself as a dentist, how you got into dentistry, where you practice, what your practice looks like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I am a generational dentist at this point, or a legacy dentist. My mother's a dentist as well, and my brother, a number of cousins and uncles. And those that aren't went into medicine as physicians. So healthcare is kind of in the bloodline. And I toyed with other ideas of things to do in dentistry. Tech was an area that I was particularly interested in, and then I realized that I could still pursue tech and still kind of scratch that itch, if you will, but within healthcare, something that I understood and I admired and revered and I valued. So it was a nice balance being able to kind of do both. So got into dentistry, graduated been a dentist now for approximately 12 years now, and have a couple of practices out here in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and the East Bay. And having fun, working hard, playing hard. Now working with Simple. I ran into a service and a product more out of frustration with what I was using previously and saying, there's got to be a better way. This is ridiculous. And then I started shopping, and I tried 4 or 5 other products, and this is the one I landed on. And I went from using them a little bit to using them a lot of it to using them only. And once I got to the using them only, and I really believed in the product, the opportunity presented itself for me to get involved on a deeper level with them. And I took it because I loved what I was using, and it had been working really well for my practice and my patients, and frankly for the bottom line too. On all fronts, it made sense for us. And yeah, so here I am, from one of their most beloved customers, or customers who most loves them rather, to one of their loudest proponents.
You know, John, you're going to get sick of this joke. No one else has heard it, but you've heard it 6,000 times. It's like the old Noroko commercial. You know, I like the shaver so much I bought the company. But it's true. You know, I think those are some of the most enjoyable stories about how a dentist becomes a real serial entrepreneur outside of owning their practice. Is they find a product they just love, or they create a product to solve a pain point. And you know, it is a labor of love there. So you're spreading the love today, though. We're going to talk a little bit about what you guys have going on, especially for our TBOD guys out here. Would you mind if I go ahead and I pull that website up, or did you want to say anything else before I do?
Well, I wanted to just take a moment to kind of expound on what prompted me to start shopping.
Okay.
And I think really what I want to touch on here for our fellow TBOD members is what I see as pain points in the clear aligner market. I was a user of the biggest clear aligner company out there, the company that needs not be named. And
you mean the one with the closed system that won't let you send scans from any other scanner except for the one they own?
Why do you got to beat me to the punch like that, Chris? That's exactly it. And I was an analog user of theirs. I have a CEREC scanner in my office, actually, in each one of them now. And we have a Prime Scan, which is the nicest scanner Sirona has to offer out there. And at some point, we started noticing the incidence rate of the impressions being kicked back, analog impressions that we were taking still, because they wouldn't accept my Sirona scans, was really increasing. I talked to my rep, and she'd say, I know, okay, let me just call someone. Hold on, I'll send an email. And all of a sudden, my rejected scan would be rejected impression, would be manually pushed through.
Right.
This seems awfully arduous and unnecessary every time. And the aligners would fit fine. It worked okay. But they made it painful. All the while,
I wonder why they did that, John.
Money talks. All the while, I'm receiving numerous overtures and advertisements saying, check out our scanner. We got a deal going. You can get it for a monthly rate. You can get it for this. We're going to incentivize you like that. It's the only way to do Invisalign. And that just felt dirty. It just felt dirty. You were the first to market, but there's plenty of aligners now. And I already knew what I was using. I knew the system. I was comfortable. But it felt like I was being bullied. And I was tired of being bullied. So I went out and tried. If you name number 2 and number 3 in market share, I tried those first. And then I tried maybe number 5, number 6 in market share. The thing I hear the most on TBOD and other like groups. And they all had pros and cons. Number 2 has a pretty decent product, but geez, they're uncomfortable. You got a trim line all the way up to your vestibule, right. Super stiff. The initial wear on movement was uncomfortable. But at least they were open source. They allowed me to send wherever I wanted my scans from, and my beautiful Sirona Prime scans would be accepted. But I didn't like the aligner. And then I tried number 3, actually offered by the same company that made my scanner. And good product too. But the treatment plans they were sending were baffling.
I could not agree more. And just to jump back to number 2 again.
Yeah.
ClearCorrect did not
work
as quickly as it should have. I felt like I was always like extending extending wear. I wanted to be able to do like a 7-day wear, but or even
which is
even just
crazy
front load the
considering the
IPR.
comfort.
You know, even just front loading the
Yeah.
IPR, so it made things easier for the flow for my office. But no, I felt like it was just not as effective. And
Yeah.
Sure Smile, frankly, to me, I was baffled by the treatment plans they would send back. I would call them up and say, "What are you even thinking?" So I'm just totally on the same page there. So I know there's a lot of other people who probably had the same experiences.
But I wanted to go with the companies that I thought, you know, they got backing. They've been around. They're attached to huge names in dentistry. They're not going to get this wrong. They've got to be doing it the best. And then actually I ran into Simple, and I threw one case through. It was a simple case, pardon the pun, but it was a fairly easy case. I got to be careful using that word simple now. And it was a case I was doing for an employee. So I thought, okay, low risk. I can watch it really closely. Why not? Employer's only going to pay the lab fee. Let's give it a try, which I think most of us do when we're kind of looking at a new product. We try and find a case that we feel really comfortable being able to monitor closely, and an individual that we feel comfortable, you know, I don't want to say as a guinea pig. It's been out there for a while, but you feel more comfortable trying something new for you. And that was the route
Absolutely.
I went.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that, because you at least know that they're going to be compliant, right?
Yeah.
So if anything goes wrong, you know it wasn't a compliance issue. There's less mystery there. I think it's a great way of testing out new technologies. You know, I don't know if our assistants or hygienists necessarily think it's great to be the guinea pigs, but you know, they make great people to test things out on.
Well, and this person was warned, hey, I've never used this company before. Let's give it a try. I'm going to want feedback early. We're getting a pretty good price for that first case. Their lab fee was markedly, which we'll get into a little bit later, but their lab fee was markedly lower than what I'd been paying before. So we both kind of agreed it was worth the attempt, and we went for it. It was an informed consent, naturally, from the patient. And what was interesting is puts in the aligners. And this is someone who's seen numerous patients have aligners delivered from the big three.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you hand the first set of aligners to a patient, they go,
"Oh yeah, pushing those things up in there, it's crazy."
They're kind of moving around like, is it supposed to hurt like this?
Right.
Well, yeah, just the first day or two, maybe it'll pass. And the second aligner will do the same thing, but a little bit less. And the third aligner will do it, but probably a little bit less. And eventually, you'll be so punch drunk that you won't feel it anymore, because you've been doing it for every aligner you wear. That soreness becomes white noise.
Yep.
So the individual putting in these aligners the first time, put them in knowing this is how we prime our patients. She puts it in and looks at me and says, I don't feel anything. Are you sure this is step one, right? Yeah, this is step
one. Must
have
felt like a red flag to you.
Absolutely. I was nervous. You didn't feel anything? Okay. Well, we're testing it out. Let's see what happens.
Right.
We did that for number 1, number 2, number 3, 4. Nothing hurts. Every time you're saying the same thing. Are my teeth even moving? We look at the aligners. We hold them up side by side. Well, the conformations look different. Am I tracking? Yeah, there's no air gaps. You don't see any air above the aligner. It seated beautifully. Okay, curious. They told me this should hurt less, but we didn't expect this. She gets through her whole case. Teeth look gorgeous. She's in her retention. She's been in her retention for over a year. Didn't feel a thing throughout. And after that, I was kind of hooked. I was like, all right, I gotta try this again. And I eventually, now I no longer prompt my patients with this might hurt anymore. I didn't know if I'd ever get rid of that. So I found an aligner that cost way less than anything else I'd been using before, and didn't hurt. Was super comfortable. So as scary as it was, we went from sometimes using it to most of the time using it to now it's all we use. Because why would I use anything else? I'm able to give my patient a better product at a better price, better experience.
And it doesn't
I'm
hurt.
curious, how? How'd you guys, who are you to have figured this out? What are you using? What's different? And that journey has kind of brought me to where I am today. And I'd love to cover some of the how, the why this product worked so much better in my patients now, multiple patients' mouths, than I could have possibly expected. So if you want to bring up the screen now, this is probably a good time to maybe start looking at some of the nuts and bolts of it here.
All right. Well, guys, on your screen, if you're watching the video, you should be able to see the website. And this is actually a link to some information that John's going to present to you just to keep us kind of organized. So, John, take it away, my friend. It's up on the screen.
Thanks. TBOD members, thank you for the time and taking a moment to learn a little bit more about this product. I'm a huge fan of it, so much so that I bought a piece of it. So, Norelco. So we're looking here at a page specifically targeted to doctors, and I'll tell you, this product, as you learn more about the model, it is targeted to doctors. It is also targeted to patients, and that is another, we believe, unique element of the total offering that Simple brings to the table. But we'll start with the aligners themselves. So, aligners simplified. We wanted to make aligners better. They wanted to make aligners better before I got here. And they figured there were a couple of things that stood in our way. One, sometimes it took forever to get those aligners shipped to you. They were being made out of the country, which adds that time. And there was maybe a sense of pride and value to bringing work here to the States locally and being able to feed families along the way. But ultimately, for you, the end user, what we were able to realize is a really quality product coming at least twice as fast as most of the others. I found that my deliveries are within, from the day I submit the scans to the day, if I am efficient about responding as soon as data is presented to me, reviewing the case, and then hitting approve, and I'm not the bottleneck as the end user. I was getting cases like 7-8 business days from the day I submitted the scan. I have aligners in a box in my office ready to go, which meant during a holiday break like this, if you have a student, a college student in town, they could be, educated, scanned, and delivered before they head back off to school.
God, I imagine that's great for those brides that always, I don't know about you, but every year I had at least 2 of them. I'm getting married in 3 months and I want my teeth to be straight and white for them. I was like, you should have come.
You're going to need veneers, honey. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
But now we don't have to say that. Now that immediacy can be addressed on a number of fronts. So second point here, technology driven. And that goes back to kind of what I was talking about earlier. And look, everyone uses technology. I know the phrase is kind of one that you hear often, technology driven, but I will tell you that from the aligner material used, which was it's designed, the R&D, the manufacturing by one of the largest aligner plastics company in the world. They are, I would argue, considered the preeminent, dental materials or plastics manufacturer and R&D company in the world. Interestingly enough, based here in California as well. And the material plus the trim design that we have applied to it. For those that are familiar with aligner trim designs, you have the straight line that tends to be up, 3-4 millimeters, sometimes above the gum line, which can sometimes kind of give you that slicing effect against your gums, and is rather rigid, and it's a bit thick because of how far up it drives into the vestibule. Or the one that the biggest company out there uses, which is a scalloped look right along the gum line. This kind of met in the middle. It was fairly short, sitting along the gingival margins, or maybe a hair above them at most. But rather than a scalloping that had a very clear point to it, it was semi-scalloped, so you had kind of a rounded finish. So when you got into those papillas, it would roundly kind of navigate around them, avoiding any pinch on the papilla as you seat the aligner. But because we're using this material and because of the design, we were able to reduce the attachments by 2/3. So we use, on average, 1/3 of the attachments that your competitors or our competitors out there use. And a third of the attachments means probably at least half as much chair time during that visit, that install visit, when you're placing your attachments.
John, I'm curious about this, and I'm putting you on the spot with this question, but what is your debond rate? I mean, you're using fewer attachments, so there's less that you're holding on to, but the aligner itself isn't as rigid as, say, ClearCorrect, which I had so many debonds on ClearCorrect, it wasn't funny. So I don't know about you, but that was definitely my experience. So what are the debonds?
So I've been using them I've been using them now for about 20 months, almost 2 years that I've been, working with Simple as my primary provider. And in that time, we have completed approximately 50 cases, and 50, 60 cases, somewhere in there at this point. And I want to say I can only think of 2 individual attachments I've had to rebond. They're on the same patient.
They usually are.
Times. I will be honest, they were not in one. It wasn't like they came in one time with 2 missing. 2 times in their process, they had 1 missing, and we put them back on for them. It was the same tooth both times.
Yep.
So only 1 tooth has experienced more than 1 attachment placement in my use. And I know that's anecdotal.
Was it a canine
that's
or
my experience?
Canine or premolar?
Canine. How'd you know?
That's the most common debonds in my office.
It's always. It was a canine. So almost none. And it goes directly back to the fact that when you put the aligner on, you can't even tell you're wearing it. It's just not pushing that hard. And then the last thing here that we kind of noted as a driving force or a
impetus,
a goal for us, an impetus. Thank you. You're much better with words than me. Affordability. We were watching prices skyrocket. I was paying, $1,500 for my complete cases for a while, and I think now retail is like $1,900 with the biggest company out there for these. And my PPO fee schedules have not changed. And while I am able, we can adjust our pricing for market over time, it just felt like the rate at which lab fees were climbing, plus the insistence on their scanner, started to make it feel really just like bad business to keep rolling with them. So we wanted to make sure we were affordable, especially if we were going to be trying to break into a market and educate patients on, or providers really, on a new solution. So to the material, this is the material I was telling you about. It is a tri-layer material. FLX, if you were to do some research on the phrase FLX, you'll find the original manufacturer of them. And the FLX material is remarkable in that it has an amazing amount of elasticity to it, which is why when you put it on, it contorts to the existing position of your teeth, and you don't really feel that pull towards where you're headed. Yet at the same time has excellent elastic memory, meaning even if you put that aligner in and the aligner bends to where your teeth currently are, it's got a little bit of force gradually bringing it back, that elastic memory, pulling back to how it was manufactured. And so as a result, you had, and if you look here at this bottom graph, you had an experience where day 1, day 2 of wear, you had markedly less force or pressure being applied to the teeth. Approximately 40% less initial pressure means less discomfort. But the forces were, because of that elastic memory, sustained. And we are consistently delivering 7-day wears. So this is all based on a 7-day wear cycle, assuming you have patients wearing it 22 hours a day, as is advised. But if they're wearing 22 hours a day and following all the directions, 7-day wear cycle with negligible discomfort. Really, I haven't had a single patient mention it to me. So, I assume I have not had to move my teeth myself, so I can't say that I've moved my teeth with this aligner and I can tell you what I felt. But I have yet to have a patient comment on it, except for that assistant who noticed the lack thereof because she knew what to expect when she put them in, based on her experience with previous aligner companies and seeing what our patients have been through in the past. So you're getting 40% initial lower initial pressure and a great sustained force throughout, allowing us to consistently do 7-day wears. Also, because of that, the elasticity of the material, you're having less attachment fall off, better retention because you're not having the aligners distort on the way in the first time because they are giving to the teeth rather than, sometimes I've had some patients in the past where I'd send them home with an aligner and they're trying to put it in around some crowding maybe, and it doesn't quite get around the teeth and they just go, I'm going to jam this thing down. And then the aligner bounces and they call me and come in and we look and you can see the margin, the trim line has bent in because when they were trying to jam their aligner on, they bent it. Well, because this material has that little bit of flexibility, we haven't had any cases yet where a patient is destroying the aligner on that initial wear or distorting that aligner on the initial wear, because the material gives just enough to let it passively get on and then start doing its work. We're finding that because of that, better retention, and also, like we mentioned earlier, we're using a lot less attachments. Another aspect of the simplicity that we were going for was simplicity in the logistics of case submissions. As you can see, as I'm scrolling down here, submit cases in seconds. This is what it looks like when you submit a case. And here we're going to start from the beginning. Start. You plug in the patient's name. It's auto-saving as you're giving it data. You don't have to do anything to help it save that information. Drag and drop. If you have anything to share, you write it into that chief complaint. If you don't, the orthodontist that we work with will just review the case and bring you to the idealized occlusion that in their eyes, which oftentimes is great. But if I have a patient who said, I want to maintain my diastema between 8 and 9, or I'm particularly concerned with this or that, or of course, if we need to note any teeth that we don't want to move anywhere, we're going to be restoring with an implant, so they can game plan that in. We'll mention that under a chief complaint notes. But we are submitting cases, my assistants are submitting cases in a minute, 45 seconds. If they got to write notes, then it depends on how fast they type. Just to type in a couple of, maybe unique details to the case below there, that chief complaint optional section. There is an advanced settings option that you can go into if you are the type who likes to get a little more granular. And if you look here at the bottom of that screen, you'll see that advanced settings. But for a vast majority of cases, this is more than enough to get the ball rolling.
Now, if you got dial-up, guys, it's going to take a little bit longer. But one other thing that I would definitely say is, well, first of all, don't have dial-up. But second, if your assistant is taking case notes in Dentrix or EagleSoft or
Copy paste,
just copy and paste, and you're done right there. That's even faster.
Yeah, no, that is exactly actually how the couple of assistants who are the most common uploaders and kind of case managers for our clear aligner cases in our offices, they will, as they write up the note, they'll go copy paste that. It's sitting there in their clipboard, drag drop, Control V, submit, Control V, tab, enter. And a lot of them are very key. I'm a keyboard friendly kind of guy, so they know how to kind of tab their way through that really quickly and be done. So we're getting these cases.
John, I don't think I've ever seen a case upload this fast. This is insanely fast to be able to present a case to the. It's no wonder you're getting them back so quickly.
Yeah. So quick submissions, quick turnarounds on the proposals, and then very quick turnarounds on the manufacturing and delivery thereafter. And we've been especially quick in certain cases with some of our regular doctors we've been working with a while. If they run into a one-off where it's like, hey, I need it even faster than fast, we will do our best to help in those cases, and have been pretty consistently able to deliver. Though please don't ask for that every time. It's hard to meet that every day, right?
You become the
turnarounds are awfully
doctor.
rough. Someone's working pulling an all-nighter to get those aligners made. So we have a really efficient process. Again, simple. The idea was be true to the name of the company. We want the solution to be simple in all facets. in doing so too, we wanted the pricing structure to be simple. So as you can see here, lab rates that make sense. We have an unlimited or a comprehensive case fee of $12.99. And if you'd like to go a la carte with the per liner, $28 per liner. If there's a case setup involved in those per liner cases, there's a case setup fee. The design of the case that I believe is 85 right now. So it'd be 85 plus 28 times however many liners you need, which if you pencil that out, compares very favorably to the express pricing for various express solutions that are offered by the major competitors out there.
Hi, folks. This is Doc Huffpower, founder of the Business of Dentistry and host of the Dear Doc podcast. Before we go any further, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our fine sponsors, Dentamax. Now, I've been able to land a phenomenal deal for all of our TBOD members and our listeners on the Dentamax Dream Sensor. Before I jump into the offer, if you didn't already know, Dentamax offers high-quality dental sensors. They sent me one of their Dream Sensors to try out in my office, and my staff just raved about it. If you're picky about image quality, Dentamax has you covered. When you get your sensor in, a technician will help you by setting it up so that you get clear, concise images all of the time. In fact, they can even set it to mimic a sensor that you had before that you like the image on. All you have to do is share which one it was. It has a tough, durable housing, and it's backed by a 3-year manufacturer warranty, which is one of the longest warranties in the industry. I also like the thin design. With the beveled corners, it makes it easy to place in the patient's mouth, and it's pretty comfortable. Now, I know a lot of you may be worried, will this work with my imaging software? You don't have to worry there. Dentamax has you covered there as well. Dentamax Dream Sensor works with virtually all software. In fact, it's usually plug and play, and you never even have to use a Twain driver. I'm excited to share this special with you because David Ornett, Dentamax's CEO, was willing to give us a really great deal. All of our members can try the Dentamax Dream Sensor for free. That's right. They'll ship it out to you and let you use it for 2 weeks. In fact, they'll even have their technician dial it in on your systems to make sure it looks as good as possible. Now, all you have to do to get this offer is go to dentamax.com/TBOD. But guys, that's not it. Dentamax is going to give you $3,000 off of their retail price, plus a $200 discount above and beyond that, just for being a member of this community. So you can get a size 1 sensor for just $27.99 and a size 2 sensor for $37.99. It's a really great deal on a really great sensor, but you don't have much time to wait because this deal ends on July 4th. So go ahead and go to dentamax.com/TBOD, check out the deal, and celebrate your freedom from high prices. Thanks again, folks. This is Doc Huffpower. Let's get back to the show.
But immense value in the unlimited product as well. I would argue that's where the greatest value is found.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here, to give you kind of to give you very clear numbers in the comparative, this is based on our most recent research. What we found the two big competitors' pricing and experience looks like as compared to ours. So you can see on a per liner level and on an unlimited case level, it's at least, I mean, as compared to Invisalign, you're looking at less than half per liner.
And this is just your normal price, guys. John has a little.
We're not there yet, TBOD.
Christmas present coming up here.
Oh yeah, this is just for someone you walking in off the street. You find our website, you click and say, "I'd like to try you guys out." Here's where we stand. Very transparent about it. Also note, these prices are listed on the website.
Nothing
this is not some back-end PDF
look at it
in my
yourself.
portal. There's no back-end. This is not inside the portal. This is not something you have to ask a rep for. And maybe your PDF looks a little different than the PDF of the orthodontist down the street who does twice as many cases as you. We've all been there. This is on our website. No BS, simple, transparent, right in front of you.
John,
Okay.
I've got to say, look, I'm looking at this right here, and the prices are amazing. They really are. I mean, it's less than half of what Invisalign charges per
Also
aligner,
less than half
which
on the
is,
turnaround time and
which is
attachments.
insane. But where my eyes just keep getting drawn is that 2 to 4 attachments. I'm blown away by that, man. I don't know if you understand the amount of angst and anger I have toward these damn buttons. So
Yeah.
having just 2 to 4 per case, that's just, man, that hits my happy place.
Yeah. Particularly if you're doing similar to, for those familiar with Invisalign's product, they have that Go product where they work on primarily the anterior teeth. You know, if you do those cases where you're working premolar to premolar,
Yeah,
and you're
social
not trying to do a lot of molar movements, oh yeah, you're going to be consistently in that 2 to 4 attachment range all the time. It's really when if you're going to get funky with it and try to work with the posterior a lot, and it's capable, your number will be a little bit higher than 2 to 4 in those cases, but you wouldn't be shocked. I mean, you would expect that, right? More advanced movements, you're going to have a few more attachments along the way. But even then, compared to the competitors performing those complicated cases, we are consistently a third of the attachments. And how do I know that? Because I've uploaded my cases, and I did this for the first 6 months, to all of these guys. I uploaded them to all of them because there was no harm in seeing what they were going to do.
Yep.
And the company that's not listed on here had so many off the wall, wild proposals that it became almost immediately disqualified, because I would have to converse with them 3 times before I could get something remotely reasonable and intelligible to even compare with. So I was like, forget it. I'm not going to deal with them anymore.
Love your scanner, brother. I know you love your scanner, but I got to tell you, I got so fed up with those crazy treatment plans. I tried going in myself to do them. Have you tried to do that manually? Oh my God! You're talking about the opposite
platform,
of simple?
it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Theirs is a very complex process. And look, I'll admit the leftmost column, they got a pretty good portal, but you're paying $1,900 a case for it. If for a vast majority of your cases, if you could just upload the files, get back something that you like based on writing some words about what you want to see happen, and move on with your day, we've saved you minutes, hours, brain cells, energy, labor hours on your staff. We're cutting all that down.
Chair time.
It's not just, and chair time for the attachments, for no doubt.
Jeez.
But the idea is not just to save on your lab fee. Great, you see a lower price point here in this table. We're happy to provide that. But we've saved you money on so many other fronts. They've saved me money on so many other fronts that the value is greater than what I can display on this table. And so for these reasons, I thought, I mean, I haven't seen better. I love what they're doing. And you'll have, here we have some feedback from happy patients and happy doctors with their experience. And the biggest comment we get is the comfort one. The biggest comment we get from patients is the comfort one. The biggest comment we get from the doctors is actually the attachment one. And we know that underlying all of that cost, of course, value, right? The value that they're feeling that they're receiving is framing their optimism about the experience. So they're getting great value and maybe walking in thinking, something's got to give. If I'm paying less, it's got to be worse somehow. And then they find, oh my gosh, it's actually better experience and cheaper. So if we're with the doctors who get through the door and using us, there's always a bit of apprehension, changing what works, working with a known brand that's spending ungodly amounts of money on ads, and that's hard.
You put your finger on something there, John. It's so funny. Paul Goodman would say that's so dentisty, or that's so dentist, or whatever, right? But it's true. We get screwed over so much. And it's not that we're stupid people, guys. It's just the offerings out there are just so bad. And they've learned to say, hey, it's just one more crown per week, doc. And we bite this crap all the time. We put up with crappy customer service. We put up with, weird, obscure ways of entering treatment plans, like with Sure Smile. We put up with getting raked over the coal on prices. And these companies, man, they're making a killing off of our backs. So anytime you get something that is this simple and this just affordable, just generally affordable and good, Your first
Yeah.
step has got to be to say, okay, well, what's the trick? What's really going on here behind the scenes?
Yeah.
It's a natural reaction.
What's the catch, right? What's the catch? Something's got to give here. Nothing's given. It's been, again, about 20 months for me. No catch. This has been my experience. No commitment. Now, if you believe in the product and you're using it, there is another aspect to the business and to the offering for us doctors that I'm also a part of and I'm a big fan of. And we can take kind of a brief moment to look at that. If you look up here at the top, we're at the For Doctors page. But if you were to go back to our aligners page, and this is really, if you were to just go to smilesimple.com, what you run into, this is a patient-facing page here. This is the patient-facing landing page. And along with being a lab, being a provider for the dentist as their back end for their clear aligner cases, as we've already kind of reviewed, we have in certain markets where we have a really strong partnership with a provider, use this a bunch. And I can tell you they do this for me here in the Bay Area because I use them exclusively. I use them a bunch, and I believe in the product. And Simple knows that I believe in the patient experience that they are seeking to provide. So they have begun marketing within my region, direct to consumer, and placing themselves alongside or as a direct competition to the other DTC aligners, the bad guys out there. But in doing so, what they're differentiating, as you can see underlined here, doctor driven, meaning you're still going into an office. They're not going to send you a cruddy little PVS tray in your house or tell you to go to their scan center in a mall, get scanned, and then send your aligners straight to your house. Now, I, as doctor, may determine that, oh, this case needs no IPR and attachments. It's a very small case. Ship directly to the patient. I don't need to burn the chair time, and the patient doesn't need to burn the gas. Win-win. So
Right.
We can still do that in those few cases that truly qualify for an almost doctor-free experience.
In those cases, guys, if you're in a state that allows telemedicine, you can always do a quick 5-minute chat with a patient, have them take some pictures, and then you can rest assured that the case is tracking. So it's a
absolutely
really great way.
That is our workflow. Yeah, that is our workflow. That are particularly for those cases that we don't, we feel confident in the patient's buy-in, the patient's ability to follow directions. A lot of times, if it's even some of our moderate cases, I'll tell them, okay, here are your first 2 aligners. We'll see you between aligners 2 and 3. Come back in 2 weeks. All right, they tracked well. All right, we'll see you again in 4 weeks between aligners 6 and 7. Still tracking well. I look at the rest of the case. Maybe it's a really complex case. We're talking about 18 aligners, 22 aligners, some of the long ones that would have taken 30 some aligners with some of the other guys. And I look and say, okay, we're kind of through that first part, the tough part, and now they're going to just kind of move along the way. Let's move to teledentistry. And then from there on out, those subsequent visits are scheduled as a call just like this. Maybe a couple of photographs they send in. We give them a template for how we want those photographs to look. And then they video in, we chat with them for a few minutes, and they're free. So certainly, yes, we've gone to a lot less invasive patient experience when we can. And the predictability of these aligners has helped with that. But again, back to this direct-to-consumer model, doctor-driven, affordable clear aligners, they are now going out, finding people that are already showing interest in Smile Direct Club, other direct-to-consumer solutions like that, and saying, we do the same thing, except we're going to keep a doctor involved. And we are also, because a doctor's involved, able to predictably treat a wider spectrum of cases, because what the patient doesn't know is, with a doctor involved, now IPR is back on the table and attachments are on the table. Whereas with a Smile Direct Club, you can't necessarily get into all those things because you're not seeing a doctor. And so they have gone out, invested. I've gotten quite a good number of patients coming through my door on a monthly basis. And these are patients that walk in because they saw a great value in clear aligners, but about 60% of them at this point for me stick around. They need a cleaning. They need, we found some decay because we take initial x-rays. We got to address that before we put you in aligners for the next year. And they had a good initial experience. They got along with our team, and they wanted us to take care of them holistically, comprehensively. And so what I'm saying is this has become a new patient generator for me, not just a way to do some clear aligner cases and keep rolling. I'm meeting patients and with doctors that they build a relationship with in certain markets where they know the demand is there and they can generate cases for you. We've opened those doors, and certainly as we get to meet some of your TBOD members, we know that they are very patient experience and business minded individuals, that you have doctors who really care about not just doing dentistry well, which is very important, but also running a great practice, taking great care of their patients, and understand that there's more to that than just doing dentistry well. These are the kind of folks that we know are very likely potential partners, affiliates to work with in different areas. And so they have here, and you guys, please feel free to take the time to review this on your own. We're going to put the link in the posts on the group, but you'll see that they've taken the time to kind of lay out to patients how our system works, and how, you know, we have doctors involved multiple times, visiting your doctor a few times in between. You'll see they are together with you and your doctor. We're trying to reinforce, connect you with a local doctor. We want to enforce there is something local and authentic and real about this experience. It is not an impersonal, digitized kind of mail order system. And healthcare needs to stay people focused, and this is one way to help us kind of emphasize that. All the while, letting patients know, hey, we've done a good job of bringing down some of the fluff. Our lab fees reflected, and accordingly, we're able to get our patients a lot better pricing.
I love it. So, John, how can they get involved?
Well, onto the TBOD promotion. For the wonderful members of the Business of Dentistry Facebook group, as you recall, we'll go back to the For Doctors page here.
And guys, real quick, when I tell you this is only a TBOD deal, I mean, this is only a TBOD deal. How many months did we work on getting this together, John?
Probably 5, 4, somewhere in there. It's been a while.
Something like that. It's been a while.
And we already and look, and I'll shoot straight again. TBOD members, these are pretty fiscally minded individuals. They understand the P&Ls of running a practice or running any business. We don't run at huge margins. This is not a high margin company, and that's not kind of what the MO is either. So there's not a ton of room for us to just be throwing out willy-nilly crazy discounts left and right. So getting one approved and making it happen is
arduous,
which you can I think all of you can understand. You know, you have a patient come in and you got in-network fees sometimes for your PPO patients where you're already taking it in the shorts, 40% off the top, 30% off the top. When that patient then says, well, I'd like a discount, you go, well, not only legally is that a problem, but forget the legal side of a discount on a PPO rate. You've already taken a hit. You're already running at such slim margins. So it was hard to accomplish, but from my buddy Chris here, there's, if anyone I'm going to go to bat for, it's this guy. So
he made me shave my head, guys. He didn't really. But
you're trying to keep up, but the sheen not quite there. You got some work to do. Yeah, the reflective
I need to get a
forces
tan.
are what
I need to get a tan. I really do.
My wife would argue that I do too, but that's neither here nor there. So for you guys, cut to the chase. We're running a promotion here for the new year. For your first case, $200 off. What does that mean? $12.99 becomes $10.99 for the first case. For your subsequent cases,
no, hold on. Let's repeat that. $1,099 for an unlimited case. It's for your first case because they want you to try it.
5 years.
Guys, do you have an assistant?
5-year
Do you have a wife? I wouldn't do it on my wife. I did it on my wife, and that was a nightmare. That's a different story. Do you have a patient you love who can't afford to get treatment? You want to give them a little bit of a discount.
Yeah.
This is your chance, guys. Try this system. You're going to love it. You're going to be a convert.
And now after that, we still want you guys to feel the love. And so we're able to at least, and this will run at the minimum through the end of Q1 2023, so the end of March. We're going to be extending a continued $100 off through Q1. And if it goes well, which knowing your members, I suspect it will, I'm very hopeful we're going to be able to keep that rolling. But I already have it set up for us to Q1, $100 off every case and $200 off your first one. So give us a try. And when eventually you figure out that you love it, keep using it, because it's the business model requires us all to get involved. If we can't get a large group of people in here, it's hard to run at these margins if we don't get the volume up. And so we want you guys here. We want to be able to continue providing excellent value and an excellent experience. And the stronger the TVOD turnout is, the easier it'll be for us to maintain this excellent value.
So guys, what I'm going to ask you to do is, once you try this, you get your 1099 case done, you're loving it. I want you to pass this along, even to people who aren't TBOD members. Tell them to join the darn group, man. They should be members anyway. But am I okay telling them they can share the link?
Yeah. Yes. No.
Okay,
of
so
course.
even if you're not TBOD
share
member,
the link.
You can share
and
the link.
Look. Even if they're not literally click and follow on Facebook, they're not Facebook users. That's not the point. TBOD is a way of looking at the practice of dentistry, of understanding where a provider meets a caring healthcare provider meets a business owner, and that both can exist and coexist beautifully together. They're not mutually exclusive in any way, shape, or form. If you know doctors out there who get that, share this. It'll bring excellent value to them, their patients, and they're going to feel better providing treatment doing this.
Now, full disclosure, as always, John owns part of the company. I own a tiny, tiny little sliver. And when I mean a tiny little sliver, I mean like less than 1/10 of 1% or some crap like that. Like really itty bitty living space. But
was that an Aladdin reference?
It was Aladdin reference. It was.
That was excellent. I love it. Wow, thank you.
I wish I could do the Gilbert Godfrey voice. We'd
Oh, for Iago. Yes. Right. Yeah. It hurts. That hurts to throw.
It hurts me hearing it. It hurts more than my ears. It hurts my soul deep down. But so seriously, I obviously there's a profit motive here if the company ever sells for me. But they are sponsors of TBOD. They're offering an amazing deal, and frankly, it's going to save you money. It's going to increase your profit margins. You're going to be happier. Your patients are going to be happier. All I can say is just give it a chance. Do one case. Hell, I want you to do 1 million cases with them, because I want you to be super, super happy, profitable. But really, give them a try. John?
I don't think you'll regret it.
All right. Well, those are strong words. I don't think you'll regret it. You can do better than that.
I sure as hell haven't. I can promise you that much.
That is true.
I mean, I'm here talking now, and again, from occasional user to frequent user to exclusive user to putting money into it to being here in front of you guys to tell you, I believe in what they're doing. I believe in what now we're doing, and I know you will too. And I know it's hard sometimes to change what you know works. There is fear in that, and I get that because I felt it. I felt it changing 4 times, 5 times along the way. And maybe a couple of those cases I did with some of the other companies along my path, I had some regrets and maybe had to reorder aligners from a different manufacturer because I was bummed I tried someone out I shouldn't have tried out. I get it. I really can't emphasize that enough.
Leave for ClearCorrect alone.
Stop. I never said them.
I know it was ClearCorrect.
I meant them, but I never said them. Okay? I never said that.
I did. And I will tell you that happened to me. I had 4 cases. I used to be, if anybody here does ClearCorrect, I was a platinum provider, the highest of the high level in ClearCorrect. And I had several cases where I had to restart the case from zero and do it with Invisalign, which cost me $1,699 that I didn't need to spend, plus another $200 from Invisalign because I wasn't a high producer in Invisalign, so I didn't get those schwanky Michael Tran deals where he gets his little cut off the top because he does so many cases. But shout out to my buddy Mike. But seriously, guys, it's a better system. Your patients are going to be more comfortable. which means they're going to tell people about it.
And if you're interested in that second layer, that affiliate model, reach out. You guys, I mean, I'm in TBOD, a member just like the rest of you. That's how I became friends with Doc Hoff and how this opportunity presented itself for me to present to you guys. It was a guy who the culture he has towards the business of dentistry, no pun intended, is something I believe in. And that's why I came to him and said, hey, I think you're the right fit for this. I think your users and the dialogue that I see within your group on a regular basis speaks to what we're trying to do here. If you're interested in that affiliate model, first thing I'd suggest is use the product. Make sure you believe in it. I believe in it, and I want you to believe in it too first. And if you believe in it, which I know you will if you try it with an open mind and an open heart, then let's see how we work together within your market to help bring access to care to more patients, bring in more money to your bottom line too, right? This is not meant to be charity by any stretch of imagination, but it is a public service because you're bringing them better value.
Absolutely.
So if that interests you, please reach out, and I'll help connect you with the right folks for that. And at a minimum, first, try the aligners out. If they're giving you a hard time, shoot me a message, let me know. But I cannot imagine you'll have anything to message me about. I know you're going to love it.
I'm going to give you another challenge. When you try it out and you love it, I want you to send me a message. I want you to send John a message too.
Yeah. Yes, I would love that. You're right. I'm here saying, hey guys, when you have a problem, I know it's going to end up resulting in crickets. I'm not going to get any messages. Tell me all the good news too.
John is lonely.
Doc Hoff is right.
He needs messages. He needs to feel the love in his inbox. So you guys try this out. When you love it, message John, message myself, because I want to know that you're having a great experience with this. John, is there anything I should have covered today that I didn't cover, that I didn't ask you?
No, I really appreciate your time. And guys, I'm a believer in the product, but as you can probably tell them, my approach to telling you about this is a rather authentic one. I'm just trying to share my experience and what I've been through. So I appreciate everyone's time listening and hanging out for this chat. And again, you got any questions, shoot me a message. And thanks again, Chris. It really means a lot. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc podcast on all major platforms.